And our bodies, our DNA, our temples, they can survive in any environment here. Like, okay, we've been devolving for 2,600 years and becoming more and more removed from our right brain. And as we have lost our minds, it's only because our minds have been shrunk into a box where we don't know how to think outside of the box. We're completely it's so sad. And I make sure I give them a look of pity. Yeah, if you don't know any better, right? You could be a frog sitting in a boiling pot of water. How would you know? How would you know if your mind doesn't tell you? Danger, danger, danger. If your survival skills, which is in your right brain, and it lives for eternity, but you could give it up. You can give it away. You can give it to education. And you can start thinking like them. You know, I knew when I was in university, college, well, when I was in grade 2, I knew this is bullshit. I knew. But I wasn't allowed to say anything. And that's what they do. You're a kid, and you can't say anything. Go to the fruitery. I'll come back to this. Wow, I'm home. It is so hot outside. Listen, let your love flow. I'm going to tell you something. Oh my God, this is wonderful. I got to tell you guys something. I figured it out, I think. Look at, we all have to put our heads together and figure it out because nobody's telling us. And you ain't going to get it from anybody that's educated. And they don't want to know. But I am not. I went my own route. And I just refuse to believe the narrative about life that I am fed here. This is what I think I'm concluding. We are in a simulation. We are in a fantasy. We were taken away by our minds into this fantasy. I don't think we were supposed to go into this fantasy, but here we are. I think it's okay to live the fantasy. Yep, it's any role you want to be. Here you are, and you are living it out. Good for you. How are you doing? Make sure you really like your role, or you were probably given the role. Make sure you're doing what you really want to do, so you can take home a movie that you love. It is a simulation, but it's about what you do in this simulation. So act out your life according to your conscience, because there are eternal recordings going on in our pupils. We're not doing this for nothing. Life is not worthless. It's something. And we have to stop fighting and stop thinking we know it all. And we have to begin going within, letting our love flow again. That's what I think. Okay, all right, I gotta get going. Bye for now. Okay, it's time for your grooming. Always when I want to do a video. Yeah, I just like to take up all the attention. You must be a boy. Yeah, you must be a boy. Okay, I'm gonna try and explain fifth dimension consciousness and Christ consciousness and heaven. You see, I can talk to all groups, whatever realm. Oops, my neighbors. Just give me a second here. I can't focus while they're talking. It's like ADHD, right? I guess I don't know. I just lose my train of thought. They've been doing construction here, replacing my entire front of my house. I just can't believe this place. It's gorgeous and it's so cheap. I'm in Quebec City. And yeah, I'm feeling pretty safe here this year. This is the best year I have had since I arrived. Calming down, able to articulate my feelings better, because when you're in PTSD, and I have been since 2016, which is a high state of anxiety and fear, and it's real, and it's real, and you know it's real, and everybody's telling you it's not real. So that's hard. And so it took me, because of my background, I guess, counseling, clinical hypnotherapy, teaching life skills, I guess it's all part of my journey on purpose. Everything's on purpose in my world. Okay, so I can talk to people that know about heaven, okay? You've been taught about heaven. And this is the same state, only it's a state of mind. It's fifth dimension consciousness or above. And the fourth dimension, or if you want to say hell, or for other people it might be depression, darkness, some medical term you'll give it, some mental disorder. But that's the fourth dimension, and that's a good place. That actually is a really good place, because if you're willing to work through the depression and the anxiety and figure out where it's coming from, it's not coming from you. Unless you're doing something against your conscience so horrendous and you don't even know you're doing it, then you might get depressed. Your spirit would go in depression. But if your ego is without feelings and you have no conscience, then it wouldn't bother you what you do. People need to have feelings to be bothered for what they do. They can't have their feelings removed, my friends, and they've removed them. And if you want to say feelings, then I'll also say right brain and emotion and our conduit to source. You can't have it on the other side. You can't have artificial intelligence and God. Don't work out. So we're in a third dimension matrix, they say. I don't quite see it like that. I see a glass ceiling over that, I see we're just barely at the 2 and 3, because we're looking in looking glasses for most of our lives. Whatever, it's a phone, a laptop, a TV, or a game, or a theater. It's everything but reality. You're not looking at the mountains or the ocean or the valleys. And you're not even looking at people anymore. You're seeing through them. And you're just saying whatever you want and beating them up and taking from them, raping them, robbing them, and murdering them without seeing them. Not seeing your soulmate. You probably if you murdered somebody, you probably murdered your soulmate. I'm going to tell you that right up. You killing people in passion, you're killing your soulmate. And that's your movie. That's your movie. So, enjoy all those Dateline and 48-hour shows. It's freaking hell. when you wake up. Isn't it? I mean, imagine, wouldn't it? Say I'm just telling a story and you want to follow my story then, if you don't want to follow my reality. Pretend it's a story. I'm telling you that, well, this person died and woke up and didn't find anybody around him. And it was dark. And he couldn't find any light. He couldn't find any pupils. He had to do something. He had to go and, he remembered he had a job to do. So he tried to go there. And he saw people, but they were seeing right through him. And so he kept going. And he knew he had to get to Virginia. So he got to Virginia, and on his way he saw these people at the bank begging the bank to let them have the money. But they weren't people, they were spirits, they were ghosts at the bank. They thought they could get in. They don't know the difference between fantasy and reality. That's what I'm saying. That's the hell. And I think I just nailed it, I think. If I made sense, I try. This is, very complex, and I have a very complex life. I was blessed to not be a soldier. I wasn't educated. I couldn't make it in the educational system. I am not an academic. I failed grade 2. I remember doing my IQ tests in grade 1. And I remember it was soon after that my whole life went downhill. It was probably like my son, only they told me he was gifted. And then a year later he was medicated. And then his life, Trevor, just went right downhill. He didn't have a chance. First of all, with me, a mother who was being removed, because I'm watching The Looking Glass. I think life is like Hollywood, and I have to get to school, teach my son how to be a good worker, and I gotta do the program. I was not doing the program, and I was told I was shit for not doing the program. Now I gotta do the program so I can raise my son right. Because I'm not gonna do that, to my son. I'm not gonna not raise him right. But by not raising him my way, he couldn't find my eyes. That's the bottom line. I am so lucky that he heard my feelings, because he had feelings. But he did not find my beams, and we know each other's beams. We know each other's beams. You know how you meet people, you know them? We know each other's beams. And he couldn't find my beams, but he felt my feelings. Heaven is not another place. It is a state of mind. And so is hell, isn't it? You're dead. You're showing up at the bank, or at your wife's, your house. You can't find your house. You can't find your house. You close the beam. When you close the beam, you're judging people. Take the beam out of your eye before you judge your brother. So let's start getting it. Share my stuff. If you understand me, then other people may understand. If it makes sense, it's real. You guys gotta know the difference between fantasy and reality, and you don't. I can help. I'd love to help. If anybody has any questions about it, but don't bring me your texts. Don't bring me your history. Don't bring me your professor, because they're full of shit. We've been raised wrong. And as a result, our humanity is at risk completely. Only the ones that get it are going to survive. So, I told you that my art was coming from my spirit when I was in a trance and not really knowing what I was doing, and even feeling funny about it in a lot of cases, because I was raised here too, and it looks like crazy talk, right? And I even thought it might have meant aliens are real. But I see now today the picture has come to light for me, and that is our dome. We live in a dome, a glass ceiling, and it is protecting the oceans above. The oceans above have fallen before, and right now the energy is in the works to stop the madness. That's how I feel. So I don't know whether you're a fatalist or not, but I am for you. I am in spirit with my mom and my dad. I know their spirits well now. If you want to understand how it works and how to reconnect with your loved ones, follow along. I can't give individual help, but I'll answer questions and comments and so on. But I get drained from speaking in spirit, and I need to do my recordings right away, but I'm drained. So pardon my low voice, but that's just the way it is. I see that the energy and metals are bringing fire to the dome. There's something about the sun. Eternal. Oh, soulmates. This is about and I just did a video on soulmates and reincarnation. And I think I'll attach it to this one too, so you can watch it again. I've told you the earth is flat, and I've told you we live in a dome, and the ice is a glass ceiling that they're hiding from us. And this is very bad energy that's going on. And nobody wants to stop it, or they've already been taken away. Maybe all your your beams have already been broken from your soulmates. You would know your soulmate. Have you ever run into people you met when you were young, and you just know, and nobody can argue? And sometimes it's not really always in the same kind of relationships as a husband and wife. It's often a parent and child, because that's who my soulmate is, Trevor. You see, I've never been alone. I have my soulmate with me. We have recovered our emotional wellness, and that's the only way to repair your spiritual connection again, is to get real and live in the truth. And you know, my story is horrible, and I had to face my part in order so I can show you what is going on in the world, and this is what we are foreseeing. I have my grandmother, and I have my mother and my father and Trevor, but only Trevor and I are in the fifth dimension of emotional wellness. My mother and father are not yet there, and my grandmother wants to stay. And to stay, I mean be reborn into the same soul group. So my grandmother is being reborn into the same soul group of my family. of her family, sorry, because there's many. And so they will have a piece, I guess. They should have a big piece. But she was treated like garbage here, like me, you know. And it's very hard on women when nobody believes in them and their spiritual intelligence. So they're all going back. But my twin flame and I are not. We're going to, and this is another way my spirit was talking to me. We are going to Norway. I had that in my head when I moved here to Quebec, that I was going somewhere, and I had this image in my head that I'm in this like Airbnb style beautiful place in Norway. And I was fantasizing and imagining this place, that I could go there, because I was really in bad shape and I need to get out of my head. So sometimes I visualize what I want to create if I'm in a really bad mood. There's a life skill for you. If you're in a bad mood, visualize what you want. And then if you believe it, if you believe you're the manifester, then manifest it. But too many people have been brainwashed. And I think I'm right about these, because I really felt funny about doing these crystals here, because it looked like I'm leaving some behind, and I covered them over. And then, but we're moving on to Norway. I don't know what the hell that means. So you can't pin details on me, that's for sure, can ya? But you can get a drift of what I'm doing here, talking to you through spirit. I think we go into stars until it's time for our rebirth. We're in the water. We're in the stars. There's your loved ones. We're in the stars. I just got it now, and that's a fact. We're in the stars. Look at this. Now look at, I can interpret this photo, or this photo. It's not a photo. It's my grade 1 art. I am je suis. I had no idea. I had no idea why. But as my consciousness, you can figure out yours too. I know everybody is here for a good reason. You're not here for nothing this time. And I feel we keep getting reborn into broken cord families where there's no love from the very beginning. And this time, I think there's going to be like a shitload. And there will be no worthwhile, there will be no women here at all. You can't live like that. Emotional intelligence is what men depend on. So if you ain't got it, you're not evolving. You'll stay in the glass system. But I'm telling you that the glass system is breaking. And so repair your cords with your loved ones. Yeah, that's why I'm here. I wouldn't fear anything unless you're hiding things in secret, and you can't, and your loved ones can't recognize you anymore. When you judge, the eyes close. And I remember when my father and my eyes closed. I remember when my son and my eyes closed. But I'm very spiritual, and I believe in my feelings. And even if the eyes close, if you have a good family, a close family, you fear nothing. If you love them and you've been truthful and you didn't, judge them, you'll be here again in the same family. I think you guys gotta try to open your minds as soon as possible, because I was born on September 11th, and this video always ends up when on my birthday time. Okay? Thanks.